Snow Crash, Chapter 47. Once it starts coming clear to her, again, that these people are all twisted freaks, she starts to notice other things about them. For example, the whole time, no one ever looks her in the eye, especially the men. No sex at all in these guys. They've got it pushed so far down inside of them. She can understand why they don't look at the fat babushkas, but she's a 15-year-old American chick, and she's used to getting the occasional look. Not so much here. Until she looks up from her big vat of fish one day and finds that she's looking into some guy's chest. And when she follows his chest upward to his neck, and his neck all the way up to his face, she sees dark eyes staring right back at her, right over the top of the counter. He's got something written on his forehead, "Poor impulse control," which is kind of scary. Sexy too. It gives him a certain measure of romance that none of these other people have. She was expecting the raft to be dark and dangerous, and instead, it's just like working where her mother works. This guy is the first person she's seen around this place who really looks like he belongs on the raft. And he's got the look down, too. Incredibly rank style. Although he has a long, wispy mustache that doesn't do much for his face. Doesn't bring out his features well at all. "You take the nasty stuff? 1 fish head or 2, she says, dangling the ladle picturesquely. She always talks trash to people because none of them can understand what she's saying. "I'll take whatever you're offering," the guy says, in English, sort of a crisp accent. "I'm not offering anything," she says, "but if you want to stand there and browse, that's cool." So he stands there and browses for a while. Long enough that people farther back in line stand up on tiptoe to see what the problem is. But when they see that the problem is this particular individual, they get down off their toes real fast, hunch down, sort of blend into the mass of fishy-smelling wool. "What's for dessert today?" the guy asks. "You got anything sweet for me?" "Well, we don't believe in dessert," YT says. "It's a fucking sin, remember?" "Well, that depends on your cultural orientation." "Oh yeah? What culture are you oriented to?" "I am an Aleut." "Oh, I've never heard of that." "That's because we've been fucked over," the big scary Aleut says. "Worse than any other people in history." "Sorry to hear that," YT says. "So, do you want me to serve up some fish, or are you going to stay hungry?" The big Aleut stares at her for a while. Then he jerks his head sideways and says, "Come on, let's get the fuck out of here." "What, and skip out on this cool job?" He grins ridiculously. "I can find you a better job." Okay, but in this job, do I get to leave my clothes on?" "Come on, we're going now," he says, those eyes burning into her. She tries to ignore a sudden warm, tense feeling down between her legs. She starts following him down the cafeteria line, heading for a gap where she can exit into the dining area. The head babushka bitch comes stomping out from in back, hollers at her in some incomprehensible language. YT turns to look back. She feels a pair of big hands sliding up her sides, coming up into her armpits, and she pulls her arms to the sides, trying to stop it. But it's no good. The hands come all the way up and keep lifting, keep rising into the air, bringing her with them. The big guy hoists her right up over the counter like she's a 3-year-old and sets her down next to him. YT turns back around to see the head babushka bitch, but she is frozen in a mixture of surprise, fear, and sexual outrage. But in the end, fear wins out, she averts her eyes, turns away, and goes to replace YT at vat position number 9. "Thanks for the lift," YT says, her voice wowing and fluttering ridiculously. Didn't you want to eat something?" "I was thinking of going out anyway," he says. "Going out? Where do you go out on the raft?" "Come on, I'll show you." He leads her down passageways and up steep steel stairways and out onto the deck. It's getting close to twilight. The control tower of the Enterprise looms hard and black against a deep gray sky that's getting dark and gloomy so fast it seems darker now than it will at midnight. But for now, none of the lights are on, and that's all there is, black steel and slate sky. She follows him down the deck of the ship to the stern. From here, it's a 30-foot drop to the water, and they're looking out across the prosperous, clean white neighborhood of the Russian people, separated from the squalid, dark tangle of the raft per se, by a wide canal patrolled by gun-toting black robes. There's no stairway or rope ladder here, but there's a thick rope hanging from the railing. The big Aleut guy hauls up a chunk of rope and drapes it under one arm and over one leg in a quick motion. Then he throws one arm around YT's waist, gathering her in the crook of his arm, leans back, and falls off the ship. She absolutely refuses to scream. She feels the rope stop his body, feels his arms squeeze her so tight she chokes for a moment, and then she's hanging there, hanging in the crook of his arm. She's got her arms down to her side, defiant. But just for the hell of it, she leans into him, wraps her arms around his neck, puts her head on his shoulder, and hangs on tight. He repels them down the rope, and soon they are standing on the sanitized, prosperous Russian version of the raft. "What's your name, anyway?" she says. "Dmitry Ravenov," he says, better known as Raven. Oh, shit. The connections between boats are tangled and unpredictable. To get from point A to point B, you have to wander all over the place. But Raven knows where he's going. Occasionally, he reaches out, grabs her hand, but he doesn't yank her around, even though she's going a lot slower than he is. Every so often, he looks back at her with a grin, like, "I could hurt you, but I won't." They come to a place where the Russian neighborhood is joined to the rest of the raft by a wide plank bridge guarded by Uzi dudes. Raven ignores them, takes YT's hand again, and walks right across the bridge with her. YT hardly has time to think through the implications of this before it hits her. She looks around, sees all these gaunt Asians staring back at her like she's a 5-course meal, and realizes, I'm on the raft. Like, actually on the raft. "These are Hong Kong Vietnamese," Raven says. "Started out in Vietnam, came to Hong Kong as boat people after the war there, so they've been living on sampans for a couple of generations now. Don't be scared. This isn't dangerous for you." "I don't think I can find my way back here," YT says. "Relax," he says. "I've never lost a girlfriend." "Have you ever had a girlfriend?" Raven throws his head back and laughs. "A lot in the old days, not as many in the past few years." "Oh yeah? The old days? Is that when you got your tattoo?" "Yeah, I'm an alcoholic. Used to get in a lot of trouble. Been sober now for 8 years." "Then how come everyone's scared of you?" Raven turns to her, smiles broadly, shrugs. "Oh, because I'm an incredibly ruthless, efficient, cold-blooded killer. You know." YT laughs. So does Raven. "So what's your job?" YT asks. "I'm a harpooner," he says. "Like in Moby Dick?" YT likes this idea. She read that book in school. Most of the people in her class, even the power tools, thought the book was totally entrenched, but she liked all the stuff about harpooning. "Nah, compared to me, those Moby Dicksters were fags." What kind of stuff do you harpoon?" "You name it." From there on out, she just looks at him, or at inanimate objects, because otherwise she wouldn't see anything except thousands of dark eyes staring back at her. In that way, it's a big change from being a slop slinger for the repressed. Part of it is just because she's so different, but another part of it is that there's no privacy on the raft. You make your way around by hopping from one boat to the next. But each boat is home to about 3 dozen people, so it's like you're constantly walking through people's living rooms, and bathrooms, and bedrooms. Naturally, they'd look at you. They tromp across a makeshift platform built on oil drums. A couple of Vietnamese dudes are there arguing or haggling over something. Looks like a slab of fish. The one who's turned toward them sees them coming. His eyes flicker across YT without pausing, fix on Raven, and go wide. He steps back. The guy he's talking to, who has his back to them, turns around and literally jumps into the air, letting out a suppressed grunt. Both of them back well out of Raven's path. And then she figures out something important. These people aren't looking at her. They're not even giving her a second glance. They're all looking at Raven. And it's not just a case of celebrity watching or something like that. All of these raft dudes, these tough, scary homeboys of the sea, are scared shitless of this guy. And she's on a date with him. And it's just started. Suddenly, walking through another Vietnamese living room, YT has a flashback to the most excruciating conversation she ever had, which was a year ago when her mother tried to give her advice on what to do if a boy got fresh with her. Yeah, Mom, right. I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, I'll be sure to remember that. YT knew that this advice was worthless, and this goes to show she was right.